I often say there's a lot to unpack on these reviews. With this one, you'd need a forklift. There's a lot going on here. Okay, let's break this down. Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where we're going to be talking about Walking the Universe Alright by SpecialThanks. There's a little squiggly thing. I don't know what you call that between the two bits. But anyway, that's what it's called. Quite a mouthful of a name. Last time we actually reviewed a SpecialThanks song, it was Something New. And you might remember actually, when one of our end of year awards, we gave that the prestigious Best Bridge Award, because a bridge can make or break a song. It is the quintessential sign of good songwriting. And we're back with this song, and I must admit, I had some high expectations, and they were very much met with Walking the Universe hyphen alright. I need some water. I've run out of water. Okay, give me a second. I can get some water and then we'll carry on. Seamless transition, Howard. Yeah. So anyway, let's talk about what this song is. To be honest, this song is a punk song at its heart, and yet it doesn't just come across so simple, as we said about Something New with SpecialThanks previously. First of all, the song starts off with a much slower section, and this brings me to thinking about the title. Now, the title, as I say, is Walking the Universe, squiggly thing, alright, which makes me think this might be the amalgamation of two songs coming together, because that first opening section is a very sort of waltzy 3/4, 1 2 3 1 2 3 kind of rhythm before we break into that chorus, and suddenly everything turns traditional punk with the 4/4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 kind of rhythm going on. Now, if they did stick two songs together, I think they go so naturally that they might as well just give this song one name, because there's a lot of hit quality in this song, and so I think giving it a nice punchy name, either calling it Walking the Universe or just calling it Alright, would have probably been a better idea. But let's get back to what this song actually is. And as I say, after coming out of that nice built-up bit, which really does kind of give you a nice relaxing feel, but with the guitar still sort of giving nice big long held notes and a lovely rhythm and a beautiful singing voice, as she often displays despite being a punk singer, we then burst into that first chorus, and boy, is this a catchy punk chorus. Very catchy. Now, I'm going to get into some of the reasons why a little bit later in this review, but just for now, let's just say really catchy chorus, loved it. Then we get the second verse, but I guess, do we call that first bit a verse, or do you call it an intro? I don't know. We get a verse anyway, which nicely rocks things along, builds up the energy before we get a next chorus, and then we get a bridge, which is a beautiful breakdown with a guitar solo, runs nicely into the last chorus. I guess you could say everything after that intro is fairly traditional, but it's so beautifully ramped up by the intro. It's so beautifully introduced. It has so much energy already there. The string is so well coiled before we come into the very first chorus that everything, that entire latter 2/3 of the song, feels massively energized. It feels much more built up to. And given how quickly it dispatches those last three choruses, how catchy those choruses are, and how nothing between the choruses is ever repeated. Remember, built up intro, one traditional verse, and then a sort of guitar solo bridge. As a result, the song never has a chance to feel repetitive or tiring, except for in the, once again, very catchy chorus. I really need to pee, and then I'll give you a bit more information. See, I was alluding to talking about the songwriting, and with good reason. Now, the interesting thing about a band like this is they are a punk band, as I said. And punk bands, well, we kind of think of them in a traditional sort of way as being a band who blasts out four chords, charges along with simple melodies. It's all fairly expected. And it's not to say that SpecialThanks can't do that. In fact, they do that a lot of the time. But there's the extra details you add. Now, when we think of that original form of punk, which is, if you like, the stereotype, yeah, a lot of the time the vocals are just following the guitar line. They're changing their melody, their note at the same time as the chord changes. Everything is very simple. There's no harmonies or anything like that. But as time went on, punk added more things. We got harmonies. Yes, they were kind of simple fifths and sevenths a lot of the time, but there were harmonies coming in there. We got more structural things started to change in punk. And effectively, the one thing that stayed true about punk was still that sort of idea of having power chords, having kind of very energetic, fast-moving rhythms, but punk became a much more evolved thing. And what's really interesting to me about hearing SpecialThanks is that this is definitely punk. It has that punk energy. If you're a fan of punk, I can't imagine you feeling disappointed about that side of the song. And yet it adds every trick in the book in a similar way to how Something New had that amazing bridge that just went through all these different twists and turns before feeding you seamlessly back into the last chorus. What we have here is a song that I dare say in some ways is more of a traditional layup, not completely, but it has a lot of tricks. For example, changing from a much more waltzy sort of rhythm at the beginning into a normal punk rhythm from the first chorus. That's a nice way, again, of building it up. When we get into the chorus, one of the things that makes it so strong, despite having a relatively simple melody, it is a melody that is memorable. It's a melody that will get stuck in your head, a melody that you'll find singing yourself along to very easily, but it's accented by having that harmony, having a harmony between herself and I don't know which of the guys in the background it is, but one of them is doing the backing vocals and they both hold a note and then his higher note goes, as it's like a step down in it. So not only do they have a harmony, but they have a harmony and a step with it, which basically makes the harmony more interesting as it develops. But this is all simple stuff. It's all simple stuff that is normal for a punk band, but it's the fact that they're willing and able and thoughtful enough to use all these various techniques rather than just going punk, energetic, that's enough. No, they want to be energetic, but they also want to colour it in with stuff that makes it musically interesting too. And that's what makes a song like this, and moreover a band like this, more than just the label punk. It makes them more interesting than you would expect. It makes them a sort of punk band who I can imagine playing to someone who doesn't like punk at all and still getting them to enjoy it. This is just an example of a punk band who knows the style and genre that they like, but also knows the tools available to them and is smart enough to use them. Now, talking of the tools available to them, I should quickly point out that musicianship-wise, yeah, this is another really well-performed song, as we often expect from SpecialThanks. If you've heard any of their myriad of covers that they do on their YouTube channel, they are a band who, once again, very punk, but very skilled. The drum lines are always very interesting. We get some great bass lines in their songs as well. This is not an exception to that as well. I like the fact that when you concentrate on the bass, again, it's not doing anything to particularly push forwards or sort of stand out too much, but it's doing just enough to add the colour to the song, add the little fills where they're needed. This is a band who really, again, know how to colour their songs with detail without going over the top, without getting too fancy. They know it's all basically about the core energy, but they want it to have enough detail that it's interesting on repeat listens. And boy, again, does it show. This is just a really well-performed song. The recording is it's punky, it's not overly produced or anything, but it's nice and clear enough. Yeah, everything's got a good balance, there's enough stereo balance to it as well. There's a good degree of mixing, everything comes through. As a result, we get a song which is nicely presented as well. It's sort of served up on a pretty platter as well as just being a good song. So that was nice as well. It's nice to hear that there was clarity without sounding overly produced. And I mean, I know you've been seeing like images of the video here while I've been talking, but I might as well point out as well that I really did like the video once again. Video was done in a very similar style to the Something New video, and I understand obviously a band like this, they're probably working on a fair old budget, but what an interesting way to take a budget and turn it into an interesting video. It was colourful, it was bright, it was fun, it was a little bit over the top, and yet it was gleefully punk at the same time. It was gleefully punk with a sort of a pop attitude to it. And I thought it was absolutely brilliantly done in that sense, so, credit again for the video. But I can't help but take all of this and just in my head think, if this song came out in like sort of 1999 to 2001, somewhere in that period, it's just interesting to think how huge this would have been, because see, at that time obviously pop punk was still popular, but it was around the time where not only was it getting high in the charts, but people were also looking for something a little bit different, a little bit interesting. Any band who could serve up the formula in a slightly different way certainly got some attention. And you can't help but look at a band like this and think, well, they certainly had the chorus, they got the interesting writing, they got the image, the presentation, the sense of fun. I can't help but feel that if this band had been around in 1999 to maybe 2001, 2003 perhaps, and perhaps if at that time there had been more of an open market for Japanese music, it would have just been amazing to know how well a song like this would have done, because this is taking a style and a genre that we've all heard before, punk, pop punk, and it's just really taking it to another level, despite the fact that the genre itself is maybe not the mainstay anymore. It's definitely not something that we see much anymore. Certainly not in the sort of general realms of what is popular. And yet, there it is. They've kept on evolving it. They've taken it to, in my opinion, a really nice height with both this, Something New, a lot of their recent output. So, special thanks as a person who still really loves this kind of music, are a band who I definitely am enjoying a lot. So in conclusion, with exception to the rather awkward name, this is a song that I haven't really got anything bad to say about. I love the energy. I love that it's catchy. I love that it keeps that sort of punk rawness and yet at the same time uses all the various writing techniques to make it interesting and make it layered. I still haven't stopped listening to something new. I still listen to that song a lot, and this is going to be added to that. Yeah, they have just worked out how to create and craft energetic, super fun, upbeat, happy music that at the same time is not patronizingly simple. And I'm really enjoying it. So, hey, they're only a small band. I suspect they should be much more popular, and they've been around for a while. I'd love to know what you guys think. Is this just me enjoying this genre too much? Is this a bit niche or niche, as you would say if you're American? I found out about that recently. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'm looking forward to reading more water. No, I ran out again. Reading them. But until I hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next one of these, for now, ciao, ciao.